I'm going to show you how to change oils in these reduction hubs. So anything like a tractor front axle or a loading shovel or a telehandler will have these hubs, which have planetary gears inside them for reducing the speed. I won't go into that, but it's important these have gear oil in them. And to us, the biggest fault with buying a digger second hand is that these might suddenly stop working, and you come to open them up and there's no oil in them, and hasn't been for years. So it's important to check these. I took this off to check it had oil in it, and now I'm going to change it because oil is quite dirty, but this is quite important thing to check. So I've already slackened these off. So as you can see, I've got a container, I've cut the top off, and an angle iron just to direct oil down. So I've taken that off now. You only take one off at a time, because I'll show you now. This is on this digger, it has a level in the middle. So once you take this off, you can see it speeds up. Comes out a lot faster now. Okay, so that's slowly draining out now. All I have here is a old oil container, and I've cut the square out to a grinder, and I've cut some angle iron because it can't actually get low enough to go under the hub there. Hub's real low down, well, not much space between the track and the hub there. If I need a tractor, you'll need a chunk of angle iron or a piece of guttering to bring it out enough from the wheel to go in a bucket, but enough of that. So on this digger now we have a fill, well, it says drainer but works anyway. You have a fill, your level, and then your drain. But on most things you only have one like this right on the edge, or one there, and forget the other two. So on something like that you have to have it at the bottom to drain it. Then on most things, well, on 99% of things, it'll be the level will be straight in the middle. So you need that plug to be at either 3 o'clock there on the clock, think of it as a clock, 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So you got, 6, 9, 6, 12, 3, 9. So we'll drain it out, and then on tractor we'll drain out, then you'll reverse it back to have it at 3 o'clock, or go forward to have it at 9, and then you'll fill it up until it starts to ooze out. To fill the hubs now, what I use is, well, I have one of these now. It's an old gear oil, it's for a job, gear oil pump. So you have a nozzle there put in to a little hole like that, and then you wind that round to pump it out. But if you don't have one of those, you can use one of these. It's an old 2-stroke bottle. Always handy to keep these. They're good for this little nozzle now, and well, you can go into different places. Good for gear oil into gearboxes and that sort of in hubs, and also use them for putting power steering oil into reservoirs. A bit awkward to get at them with a jug. These are quite less mess of them. Okay, I'll tell you in depth how. Well, checking the oils here now and changing oils will save you thousands. Like this motor, that's got to be at least 1,500 quid if it went wrong. Well, they're usually cheaper to buy a complete thing than try to get the different little parts and everything, because there's bushes in there, and the gears, of course, are usually sold as units. But I think they're like 1,500 quid each on these. On a tractor, I wouldn't like to price one up, to be honest. It's going to be thousands. And these don't hold actually much oil at all. There's a pint or so, a tractor as well, maybe a couple of pints, isn't it? A litre or so. So it's not much oil at all. It's literally, it's if you don't change these, it's literally saving pennies to be spending pounds again. But these are, seriously dear, and also the downtime, counting that as well, the oil is nothing. So thing is, no one ever checks these. because you know it's, well, who has a spanner with them to check them, you know. Well, these now with Allen keys and ratchets, you know, I have a bar to slack them off because we're never, well, to us we're quite seized on. I needed a long bar to get them to start to turn. So those when we're checked last. But I'm afraid most things are like that. And you buy, well, if I had this, well, bought it second hand, you know, if you had this new, you know what it was. But this now, it could, well, this had oil in. It was full oil, so it was fine like that. But it was getting quite dirty, it's quite black and quite, you know, smelly even. So it needed changing. But if you're buying second hand now, the bloke before you, it could have been full of oil in the track, and he could have pressure washed it, looked good, and you bought it then, and he thought, oh, you know, doesn't need checking, there's no leaks, but it might have already leaked out because there's nothing much in it to start. So it's always worth, that's a top tip to save you thousands when buying a used machine. But it isn't just diggers, it's well, it's quite a big problem with diggers because, well, no one really checks them, and I've seen most people have problems with the motors. It's no oil in them and the gears have gone. So that's the biggest problem on them, and it was quite easy to check. And but yes, but tractors a bit better, not as much, but saying that a lot of those haven't been checked in years, you know. They hold a bit more, so it's a bit less of a problem because they have something in them, but still. And same with loading shovels, they'll have V-hubs, telehandlers have V-hubs as well, so it's a bit of everything like this. So it's well worth checking. Now this is a tractor for axle hub, and it's much the same. Planetary gears in there, you can see different pins for 3 different gears. You have a gear in the middle, out for half shaft, gears there, and you have a ring gear in there. And that reduces the speed and puts more stress on these and less stress on the diff and internal parts. But see, there's a plug there. On these, only one plug, and you might find on a telehandler or loading shovel only one plug on them. So what to do, you best have one driver, one looking out here. You drive until that gets right to bottom. When you can drain it, and you see the wheel sticks out quite a bit, so you have a piece of guttering or piece of angle iron come out to bucket to drain it. Then after it's drained, with someone watching, you have a driver reverse or go forward, and you'll typically find on 99% of things it's halfway full, so you need it at either, think of this clock, so 12, 1, 2, 3, such. You need it at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock, so go forward to have it there, or go back to have it at 3 o'clock, so straight across. Then you fill it up until it starts to ooze out, and then you stop it. That's your level fine. And when checking levels, just checking, see if there's oil in there. You put it at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock and see if there's any oil again. Sometimes it might not ooze out, but you put a bit of something in there to check there's something in there.